Hello everyone, and welcome back to Plus Ultra Pitching, where we're going over mistake number 3 in our series of mistakes I made as an early coach. Now, have you ever had a pitcher who comes in with a pretty good fastball and a pretty good changeup? You work together for a year, she has an awesome summer season, and when she comes back for her off-season training with you, she comes back with the news that her travel coach wants her to learn 2 new pitches. 2 brand new softball pitches to be ready for the next season. This brings me to mistake number 3 that I used to make all the time as a beginner coach. And that mistake is progressing my students too quickly. I've had situations where pitchers will come in with a pretty good fastball, maybe sometimes a pretty good changeup too. And after, maybe 3 months or so, I'm like, you know what? I think they're ready to learn a new pitch. So I teach them a curveball, or I teach them a drop ball, or teach them a screwball. Fill in the blank with the pitch that you want them to learn for this video. And a couple months down the line, you realize that the spin is just not there. Let's say you are teaching them a curveball. That spin is not spinning sideways, the pitch is not breaking at all, and you don't understand why it's not clicking. You've been working on this for 3 months now. And what I have found, and it ties back to mistake number 2, so if you have not already watched our video about setting up objective measurements for your pitchers, make sure that you go back and watch that. But I have found that when you don't have those measurements, it's easy to just arbitrarily decide when your pitcher is ready to progress. And the problem with this is that it always ends up being really random, and oftentimes it ends up being way before the pitcher is actually ready to learn these pitches. The best solution that I have found is to set benchmarks for my students. So I am completely transparent with them from day one. They come in and they want to learn a new pitch. I say, that's great. Once you can show me that you can throw your fastball for a strike 70% of the time at least, for at least 3 weeks in a row in our practice sessions, then we can start talking about a new pitch. And that's just a random example that I give. You can set up your own benchmarks. I set up my own benchmarks for where I want my students to be before I teach them something new. But it's really helpful for pitchers to have a goal and to have an objective number to strive for, where they know the reward is going to be learning something new. It gives them a reward, and it gives you as a coach some grounding, so that when they come to you asking to learn 2 new pitches before the next season, you can take a step back with them and say, that's great. We can do that if you can hit X benchmark and X benchmark by this time. So setting benchmarks has been huge for helping my pitchers. It's been really huge with parents and coaches to understand my process and understand that it's not random, that I'm not just stalling their pitcher's progress for whatever reason, but I'm actually setting standards for them to reach, so that way when we do progress to that next step, their pitcher is ready and they have all the foundation they need to be successful with that technique. So just to wrap this up, the 3rd mistake that I used to make as an early coach was progressing my students way too quickly. And the best way that I found to address this was to set benchmarks. So if you're a coach, no matter what sport it is, figure out what progressions your athletes are going to make, and then from part A to part B, figure out what steps they need to hit to get there before they're ready to unlock the next level. I hope that this was helpful. If you have not already, make sure you check out our first 2 mistakes, which is not having objective measurements and also symptom chasing. Those 2 go really well with progressing our students too quick, and all 3 of these solutions together, creating a solid assessment for your pitchers, finding ways to track their metrics in your practice sessions, and setting benchmarks is going to set you as a coach up for success for the long term. If you like this advice and you're looking for a little bit more detail, I really encourage you to sign up for our newsletter at plusultrapitching.com. There we send out newsletters every week with different pitching workouts that you can do with your students, or just more details about some of the things we aren't able to get into in our YouTube videos. If you haven't already, please click the subscribe button so that you can get a notification anytime a new video comes out. And make sure you like this video so we can help as many other coaches as possible. I will see you guys in the next one. And also, I just want to give a shout out. Thank you for everyone who has already subscribed. We really appreciate your support. On that note, I will see everyone in the next one. And as always, plus ultra.